for Aaron. We have Aaron Boone at 2:30. Who'd like to begin? Meredith.
Hey, Aaron. About this time last year, you came in here and said this team had a bit of an edge to it, wanting to get to the World Series and win a World Series. After the way last year ended, how would you describe the motivation of this team this year coming in?
Definitely coming in hungry, if not hungrier than, years past, especially going from 23 into last season, not making the postseason. That's a tough one to swallow there. And, guys were motivated, guys showed up early, they put in the work, and I think, getting to the dance and losing out on it definitely is a lot worse than not even getting in. So guys are motivated, guys are ready to go. So definitely some great energy so far. It's only been a couple days, but guys are ready to get back to work and get us back in that spot and rewrite the script.
A bunch of additions to the roster. Just overall, what do you think of this roster heading in?
It's exciting. You had a lot of different pieces that have come in. We start with Bellinger, a guy that can play 3, 4, 5, 6 different positions for us, play all over the field. You got a guy like Goldschmidt, who's been one of the top 10 hitters in the game for the past 10 years. It's been impressive to watch. He's going to bring different side of the game to us at first base. He's a guy that can run the bases well as well. Having Jazz do his thing, another year of Jazz, who's been so dynamic for us and explosive. It's going to be exciting. We got a lot of different pieces, some new arms, especially with Max Fried, a guy that I faced for quite a few years, and I'm glad he's in pinstripes now. But I'm excited about the lineup. I don't know how it's all going to work out, who's going to bat where and all that, but just up and down this lineup, we got guys who are going to have good at-bats, quality at-bats, guys that can steal bases, get on base, and a lot of guys that can leave the park.
Andy, to the right.
What's been the biggest challenge of facing Fried over the years?
Wow, he's got 5 or 6 different pitches. He's got great command with all of them. He can run up to 95, 96, 97 on you. He's a guy that's determined. He's not going to back down. You've seen him pitch in big game after big game, especially on their World Series run, and he's a competitor. He's a competitor with good stuff. He knows he has great stuff, so it's he could throw one pitch and just get you out with that pitch, but he's got 5 or 6, so he's just a pitcher. He's a polished pitcher. He knows what he's doing out there. He competes his butt off, so there's a lot of things about facing Max Fried this stuff.
Brendan all the way to the left. And Otis.
Aaron, thank you for taking the time. You talked about how tough it was to lose the World Series and how guys were getting in early. Was that something you guys talked a lot about over at Himes? Just the motivation you got there now to win one?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, 23 left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, but I think this past season, getting a chance to kind of nibble on that final piece, trying to get close to a championship, I think that just really drives that hunger and passion out of guys. So I think, like I said, guys, we were checking in all offseason on certain guys, how you doing, what's going on, and they were ready to go a couple weeks after the season was over with. They're like, hey, I can't wait to get back down there and get this thing rolling. So it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year to watch a lot of guys continue to take another step. We got a lot of young guys on this team, besides all the additions we have. So, I think it was a good experience for a lot of those guys last year playing. And you go from one season where you end at 162 and then another one where you go all the way to the very end. So they got a taste of that, and I think they know which one they'd rather have.
And talking about the World Series, the Dodgers talked a lot about you guys this offseason. What was your read on that? How did you feel about that?
Oh, yeah, we heard that, but there's nothing you can do besides you got to beat them. They won. They can say whatever they want. So, if you don't like it, you got to play better.
Otis in the middle.
Aaron, both you and Juan had great years last year. Can you talk about the loss of him to the lineup, and overall, how can you guys be a better team overall?
Yeah, Soto's one of a kind, man. He's a special player. Excited for him and his new chapter with the Mets. But we added a lot of new pieces here, starting with, like I talked about earlier, Bellinger and Goldschmidt, 2 guys that are, former MVPs, guys that are still wanting to improve, still want to get better. They're going to add just such a different dynamic to this team. It really lengthens out our whole lineup. When you have those guys batting in the middle of your order, it just a lot of good things are going to happen. So, you can't replace a guy like Juan Soto, but you bring in guys like this that are, all-stars, MVPs, caliber players. We did a pretty good job.
In-house fatherhood so far.
It's been great. It's one of a kind. It's definitely a blessing. People try to prepare you for it or give you stories or tell you how it's going to be. It's an out-of-body experience, but we're loving it. We're loving it.
Gary, and then pass it to Ron, please.
Aaron, you mentioned not knowing how the lineup's going to shake out in the past. Last year you hit third behind Juan. In the past you've hit second. Have you talked to Aaron about where you're going to hit this coming year, or do you have any preference for where you might be this year?
Yeah, I'd love to hit third again. I've told him that since the first day, but I've always been about wherever you need me. If it's hitting third, hitting second, hitting last, I'll be anywhere that helps shape this lineup the way we need to. So we'll see. We got a lot of different guys, a lot of good different options that can hit leadoff for us. Guys that hit second, hit anywhere. I'm excited to watch, Jason Dominguez have another full year, have a healthy year, getting a chance to be around Jazz and see what he can do, at the top, middle of our order. He's another guy that can just change the game with, his legs, his bat, kind of everything. So, and then even Volpe, another year of, Anthony Volpe. We saw him really do his thing there in the postseason, and we see him do that for 162. This sky's the limit for that kid. So, I'm excited. We'll see what happens, but I really don't care where I hit.
Thanks.
Ron.
Were you surprised by Juan's decision and his apparent conclusion that he had a better chance to win with the Mets than the Yankees?
That's his opinion. He can say what he wants. I definitely disagree with him, but I wasn't too surprised by it. I think that's where he wanted to be. I think that's where it was best for him and his family, and you got a pretty nice deal over there. So I think you can't say no to that. But I'm happy for him. He got a good deal. He's going to be in a great spot. It's going to be great having him in town. We're going to be battling back and forth for quite a few years. So I'm definitely happy for him.
Did you speak or exchange texts with him at all in the offseason?
Yeah, I tried to. He got a different number though, but so texts weren't going through. But we chit-chatted a little bit and caught up.
You did or didn't?
We did.
Eric.
Aaron, you mentioned Dominguez a couple of minutes ago. What do you see, and they put his locker right in between you and Bellinger's, what do you see as his, ceiling, if you will? What do you want to see out of him this spring, and what are his, attributes?
He's definitely a five-tool player. Today even, went up there on the right side against, one of our best starters in Rodon. Hits a homer, man. He's a guy that he's dynamic on both sides. He's a switch hitter. He can play good defense. He can run the bases well. Coming out of spring, I think just have a healthy spring. I just want to see him continue to have great at-bats, work the count, do what he needs to do. He's, like I said, the sky's the limit for him. He can go out there and have a incredible season for us. Me and Bellinger were kind of joking with him about, hey, you got 2 Rookie of the Years right next to you, man. Like, this is going to be your year, man. Just you go out there, do your thing. Something special is going to happen. So we're going to definitely be on him. Definitely try to be a good resource. Just be good mentors to him. But he's got a great head on his shoulders. He's going to go out there and do what he needs to do. So it's just about us trying to support him and help him bring out the best.
Greg.
After the World Series ended, how much do you kind of replay some of those moments in your head, or were you able to kind of flip that page pretty quick?
You flip it pretty quick, even during the regular season. Bad games, bad moments. It's just, you got to move on and go to the next one. So just like anything, you lose out on a World Series, you got to learn from it, learn what you can, and move on to the next thing, which is this season.
Is it different, though, when you don't have a game the next day to kind of just flush it that quickly?
Yeah, it's tough, so it might take a couple more days, but you're able to flush it after a while and just use it as motivation. You got to get better. You weren't able to finish it out, so just use that as motivation going into the next year and change the script.
Take a couple more right behind you, Greg. Thank you.
Hey, Aaron, congratulations. Welcome to the Father Club.
Thank you.
When you talk about the baby, your face light up. How much of the motivation, extra motivation, is that going to be?
That's what it's all about right there. I play I play for this city, I play for the fans, I play for my family, but now having a little girl and, having a chance to have her, grow up and watch me, do what I love, and if there's any way I can inspire her through, playing this game to do something special, that's going to be pretty cool. It's just, just more motivation. I don't want her to think her dad's, I'm getting older. I don't want to be, the old man here in a couple of years. So I got to stay on top of my game. So she's definitely going to motivate me, definitely keep me on my toes. And it's going to be a fun couple of years, that's for sure.
One more, if there is any. Pete?
Aaron, how much were you aware of what Giancarlo was going through physically last year with the elbow issue he mentioned here in camp? And does that make what he did in October even more impressive for you?
Yeah, definitely. Big G's, he battles through a lot. He's a guy that, I know he's missed some time here and there, but he's a guy that he battles through a lot of different injuries. And, like you said, to see him go out there in the postseason, and I saw the work he put in pregame on the field, and he'd go right to the training room and do his work and just do whatever he could to be prepped, ready to go at 7 o'clock. And then for him to turn the switch on there and perform the way he did, that's why he's one of the greatest players in the game. And we're lucky to have him around here, and especially around a lot of these young guys to show them what it takes. It takes a lot to win a championship and get on that caliber level of being an all-star MVP, and what it takes to play in New York. So he's a prime example of that. And it was, he's just a little banged up right now, but he'll be back out there soon.
Thanks, Aaron. Aaron Boone at 2:30.